Welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown. We're going to take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up in the next week. But before we do, I've got some new patrons to thank. These are the people who donate to the channel and make sure that you get your content. No, I always like to give shout out to my newest patrons, shout out to my existing patrons. You're all friggin' awesome. I'm so continuously grateful of the support for people who are able to donate. And if you're not in a financial situation where you can support the channel, or you don't like me enough or watch the channel enough to do it, you don't need to. But I want to give a huge shout out to Kenneth and Mayan. Thank you so much for jumping on board, supporting the channel. Thanks to David for the one-time donation. And William, shout out to William. William signed up for Patreon while I was filming this video. So I'm going to cut this and put this back at the beginning. So I'm glad I caught it so that I can put it into this video right now. I'm very appreciative. You know, I do this at the beginning of every episode, and mainly because this is the series where if you're watching it consistently, if you've been watching Room and Board for a while, like this is the series where I know you're really into Room and Board. You haven't just stuck around for like a top 10 list or whatever, but you're here for me, and you're here for me reading through all the rule books so you don't have to. And coming back with updates if I play a game or not, like the first one that we're going to talk about. So thanks so much to all my patrons. You guys are the best. And let's get into the week, starting with this, The Age of Automaton. I covered this a couple of weeks ago, and I put this as a pick of the week. I still think I stand by it. However, I do want to do an update that some people tried it at Dice Tower West. There was a prototype. These were some of my players at WSBG, and they were hanging out in the WSBG area. And so I saw it, and I was like, hey, let me know how it is. And they found it incredibly frustrating. They said this was very frustrating. The rulebook was frustrating. When you're on to round 2, you don't even get more things than you had in round 1, which they didn't like. And I said, how's the card play? And they were like, meh. So I think that's valuable information. I think it's valuable information for you all to know, and I wanted to just do a little bit of an update if you guys were thinking about late backing. Of course, it was a prototype. They said that the rulebook they felt was poorly translated, and I get that because I read through it as well. But I just wanted to give you the first impressions of a couple of people who had the prototype in front of their hands, tried it, didn't really enjoy it. That's all there is to say about that one. Next up, we have Falling. Falling technically should have come in last week because it finishes tomorrow, Tuesday, March 18th. But maybe it wasn't on Kickstarter when I was recording it. I had to record a little bit in advance. I'm recording this one a little bit in advance too because I have to work at Breakout Con in Toronto all weekend as well. Been a couple busy weeks for me, and I'm stressed about video content, so let's get into it. Let's stop with the nattering. But I know some of my patrons were talking about this. Oh, I better get the $1 pre-pledge thing up too. And they thought it looked really cool. And I'm excited to check this one out for sure. Good thing I did. Definitely glad I did. Shout out to Vault Boy. There's 3 of them in here. Okay, let's look at Falling. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Climb higher. The tower is falling. Okay, neat. Cool. Neat. People were making fun of me that I say neat and cool too much, so I'm doubling down. One day, out of nowhere, the tower descended from the sky. Rare ores, natural resources, and historical artifacts were discovered one after another, prompting explorers commissioned by the Research Guild to race to climb the tower. However, a massive vortex of light appeared directly beneath it, and the tower slowly and silently began to descend into it, collapsing in the process. Believing that the valuable artifacts and resources needed to be recovered before they were lost, the Research Guild offered rewards and sent explorers into the tower. With their own motives hidden in their hearts, the explorers boarded their flying machines. So there's this giant tower, and then there's a giant vortex in the sky, and it's slowly being sucked into that vortex. Players take on the role of explorers, aiming to increase their income and earn victory points by placing devices inside the ever-descending tower. Devices generate income while they remain in place, but at the end of each round, the tower continues to fall, causing each floor to descend. Devices that drop off the board are retrieved onto the player's board, yielding a substantial income. Yes, as you sacrifice your people as they get sucked into the sky vortex. It doesn't say that you pull them back. The tower has descended into the sky. And your generators, well, I guess if your generators, if they just have one gasp of energy that it sends out to you, thematically, I can go with that. Can you skillfully balance placement and retrieval to maximize your gains? Okay, so it's kind of Solkin-like, I would say, except you get an immediate benefit for placing your resources, your people, and then you have to wait until they fall off. So you're balancing climbing the tower, moving your individual marker up steps of the tower, paying a cost for it, placing devices on the tower, again, more spots where you can get resources. So it's resources and resources. At the end of each round, the towers collapse and you get more resources. There are also these guild cards which you can put under what look to be your 4 different types of meeples that you'll put onto the board. And every 10 points you get a random resource, which I think is fun. It's mountains of resources, lots of dopamine hits, which is cool. And the art is just out of this world. It's ridiculous. It's so good. Cool. Let's check out the rulebook. Work in progress. That's completely fine. So what else have you done, board game, Sunnyboard? Collaborators with Sui Works. Okay, cool. 2 creative projects. I want to see the creative projects. Why are you making me click? Factoria. Similar art. Did I cover this? No, only to Japan. It was also in 2021 and a fully Japanese page. That makes sense. I wasn't born then in 2021. I know I look good. I don't look good for 4 years old. In fact, I look atrocious. Oh, stick around for the end of the episode unless I cut it into the beginning. Editing Chris can decide that. That guy just needs to get back in the trenches. But Gamefound sent a little packagey thing, which looks like a confetti cannon. I'm way too tired and unmotivated to spurt confetti all over the place. That should tell you my mental state right now. If I'm not taking it, I'll probably do it. Oh, it's gonna be so much to clean up in this little corner. Cleaning is so hard these days, but it's a confetti cannon. We'll save that till the end. Maybe I'll save that for my next, best of the year review. I think it seems pretty self-explanatory. It's a lot of resources. It's a lot of put your buildings out. I just want to know how much the cost for everything is and the flow of moving up the tower too. I like that the player order gives you resources. I like that every 10 points you get a resource. You're sort of pushing your luck of chaining things together. I think that'll be fun. Okay, game flow, preparation phase, supply, exploration, income, progress. Standard. Cool. So every round you get a little unique skill and you get some supply. They're multi-use cards, or you have an option. You have a choice between the two. Skills feel very much like Terra Mystica in that you just place a little token on them to indicate that they've been used, or some of them are income. If you don't want it seems like they're divided into 2 sets. They'll either give you like a conversion ability or they'll just give you income. So Ascend Rising is one of the actions. It's like you take your little ship and you throw them up there. This also determines where you can place your buildings. Yeah. Is not what they showed in the video, to be clear. It's a bad video then because it gets the rules wrong. I could have intuited it if they had showed the correct thing in the video, right? Oh no, they did. I'm just an idiot. Just kidding. I'm an idiot. I thought the yellow was on the 2nd row, but it's on the 3rd row. So yeah, okay, great. I'm just a stupid idiot baby who doesn't deserve to have nice things. That makes sense. You have to climb to a part of the tower to place things on the tower. I like things when they make thematic sense. Then there's negotiation. Sure, just another place to get resources, but you use skill chips or rocks instead. I wonder if skill chips are finite. Does everybody get skill chips? Yeah, you must be able to get more skill chips over the course of the game, thereby giving you more actions. Yeah, your skills are very powerful. As rounds progress, you'll want to increase the number of skill chips you have as much as possible. AMAP, as much as possible. And so you really have to balance your skills of how you want to use them, save them for income, etc. And that's it. Then you can pass. Move your counter on the turn order track to the leftmost, topmost empty space on the pass track. And again, the order in which you pass determines what you get. When it is the turn of a player who has already passed, advance the counter of that player down 1 space in the same column and gain the resources or victory points. So, okay, interesting. So you can keep on taking turns because everybody's going to have so many resources. But this is how you can get skill chips. So if you have a strategic pass in that 1st round and people still take turns, you're going to be able to get that additional skill chip on the 3rd round. That's neat. And then like Terra Mystica, however many things that you have placed out will generate income for the round. Cool. This seems good. I mean, it seems like something that I would quite enjoy. It is your standard Euro style game, chaining resources together on a variable board, right? That's essentially what it is that the board keeps on shifting and rotating, that you will want to time out having your stuff out there, having it come back to you, having to put it back out there, that running on a treadmill style of game. I'm intrigued by this. I don't know if it's going to be mind-blowing, but I think it would be a very solid experience. So the standard pledge is $60 US, and that's 88 Canadian. And then shipping in Japan is $10. Shipping to the US is 20. Shipping to Canada is 25. That's about what you'd expect from shipping from Japan. So for me, it would be about $110 for this game, $120 for this game. I think it's good. I think there are other more robust Euros out there. I think this is going to be fairly simple, but I think the flow will feel pretty nice. For me, if I'm spending that price, I want more of a meaty experience. That's just my own personal preferences. But I think this game's going to be good. Like, no qualms here. The flow will be simple. Oh, that's where you can grab a skill chip too. Yeah. I think playing with the skill chips and getting those additional actions is going to be pretty fun, especially because it's a sub action. And so I don't think it costs you an action to take. I like that progressive points on the passing turn as well. Unfair does that in one of their variants, is that when you hard pass in the event phase, if other people keep on playing events, you get $1. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like it. I definitely like it. You have until tomorrow to order it. There might be late pledges. There probably will be, but I know that the turnaround on a lot of these Japanese games is not as often what we expect in standard crowdfunding. So yeah, check it out. If you're interested in that, finishes Tuesday, March 18th at 8:59 a.m. Good start to the week, but we're about to have a horrid start to the week. Next up, we have Fight Deck, high-octane fighting card game, which we are not covering because it used the $1 pre-pledge. Unfortunately for it, it did not get millions and millions of dollars, and in fact all of its revenue has probably gone to Launch Boom, would be my guess in terms of tabletop board gaming margins. So congratulations on paying Launch Boom all your hopes and dreams. Same with Cities of Venus, Survivors. Again, what else have you created, Tin Robot Games? You had the first Cities of Venus, which raised almost double what you have now, where they didn't use Launch Boom, and now they're back, and they used the magic $1 pre-pledge that people still think is going to set them off into wild success, and they made half of what they made in the first time. Sorry for you, Cities of Venus, but I put this again as a cautionary tale to those who want to use Launch Boom and the $1 pre-pledge as this sort of magic formula to get people to love your games. Seems like it's out of fashion. Seems like it's not the tactic that determines if people will buy the game or not. If we looked at the data sets of what all these campaigns have raised, what have hit $1 million, what haven't, compared it to the percentage of all the other games on Kickstarter, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but I'm the only one beating it. So at least it's just me in the field with the flies and my itty-bitty stick. And this horse, it's still there. You'd think I would have squashed it down by now, but I am just one sad human being slapping his horse meat. I can't call it horse meat. I don't know. We're moving on to this flop, which I hope isn't a flop. There was a time in which I happily identified myself as a flop, and I think I still do. Flops got a flop. I don't know, they say this is a role-playing game. I don't really usually cover role-playing games, but you play as the director, stars, producers, and screenwriters, and you remake the last movie that hurt you. So Cats. I'm still thinking about Cats 5 years later. Oh my good God, that was horrible. Just awful. So if you wanted to remake the movies in a colorful way, I feel like you could just do this without the game, without spending $35 on a PDF version of this, and you could just say, hey, let's rewrite the movie to make it good if that was something that interested you. So I don't know how much value this is providing to people, but 42 people seem to have value in it, and I'm sure some of them are not friends of the designer. So yeah, if that tickles your fancy, check it out. That finishes Wednesday, March 19th at 1:39 p.m. If you like the theme, just do roll camera if you want a board game version of that theme. We're moving over here to the Wyrmwood Modular Gaming Table New Year deals for 2025. And the last time I looked at board gaming tables when they came up on Kickstarter, compared to their prices listed on their websites, seemed to have been a deal. And so that's why I figured I would mention it. I doubted the best gaming table at the lowest prices, including free table accessories, but I do think that if you are looking for a specific gaming table, you could wait until they have a crowdfunding campaign. If they're often having crowdfunding campaigns, I know Game Theory Tables has one, right now too, because I once upon a time signed up for an affiliate program and then immediately did nothing with it. I said, nah, I don't care. I don't care. I understand why when I was trying to do affiliate marketing for WSBG that nobody cared, because I'm also on that front where I'm like, I don't care. If I'm going to sell out, I'm going to sell out for a lot more than that. Or if I'm going to recommend something, I'm just going to recommend it. It's a bad business model, I know. I should stop it, but I'm not going to. But yeah, I find board game tables to be ridiculously expensive. I also don't have the space for them in my current living situation, so it's never a consideration that I have had. I understand the appeal, though, especially of being able to set up a game underneath and then put the table on top. I think that is the point of a board gaming table. Although playing games with Zach and having him just throw pieces everywhere, always on the ground. Well, that also provides a pretty good incentive to get something with a deep well. Need it faster and willing to play more? Click here to see in-stock options on our website. So yeah, that's fair. So I like that being a big old button right at the top. A 6-person table is going to cost you $2,500. I still think that there are other board gaming table places where you can get it less than that, but it's all to people's preference, you know? I feel like all gaming tables feel pretty much the same, and people who get a gaming table are generally just excited that they have a gaming table. But the Wyrmwood table looks nice. Not raising a whole lot, but they're just taking pre-orders and they're clearly in business for a while. So if you're interested in that finishes on the 19th at 2 p.m. The 19th being Wednesday. Also, just a quick thing, if you're looking for some promos and you want to support Dan, the Game Boy Geek, I've interacted with Dan just virtually on behalf of World Series of Board Gaming, and he's a very nice guy. He did some nice ads for us at a pretty reasonable rate. Also, if you haven't seen it, and every time his funding comes up, I bring this up, but if you haven't seen it, go check out his game room. It's insane. It's so insane. He has a hidden wall with a movie theater behind it. Come on. It's so cool. You have to go check out that video. So yeah, I was like shouting out other YouTube content creators because I think a rising tide lifts all ships, and I just think it's a nice professional courtesy. So you can check him out. Season 13. I assume he does one of these every year. Season 12, 2024, etc. Season 9, 2021. Season 4, all the way back to 2015 is when he started that. Wow, been around for a while. So yeah, check it out if you want. You can always get some promos here, and if you have them, you can find somebody to give the other promos to. $50 for 100 promos, if that's worth it to you. Promos are weird. Promos are a weird thing. They're fun to have, but I feel like so many people get obsessed with tracking down the promos and feel like it's integral to their game. And there's not one game that I've ever played where I've missed having a promo item in the game. Even my favorite promo items came from Sheriff of Nottingham. Arcane Wonders sent me those back when Arcane Wonders had the better version of Sheriff of Nottingham. They sent me like 3 special cards along with some bags because I had an issue with my bags opening and closing. And so they sent me a set of these promo cards. And they're fun. They're really fun. They're fun to have in the deck. But when I play a normal Sheriff game, I don't miss them because they're just like a single card, right? Don't go crazy over collecting promos. They're meant to sort of give you something, give you a reason to justify helping people out, but it's not something where you need to go crazy about. Anyway, you can check that out if you want. Okay, we're moving and shaking here, people. Now we're gonna get into some stuff. I thought we had a lot more stuff here, but now that I'm scrolling through, we have that near the end. That one's good. All right, I already know my pick for me and my pick for you. But we're gonna check out this one. Game Plan, a 2-player basketball game. Build your team, run plays, score baskets, and dominate your opposition. A must-have for any true baller for those baller deals, y'all. Yeah, they do have a rulebook on this very light page, which is nice. Shipping will be calculated after it's finished. That's not good. You never want to see that. I mean, that instantly to me is a no-back situation, right? They say, we'll figure it out when it's done. When you say we'll figure it out when it's done and you don't give your backers a reference point of how much you think this is going to cost from your point of origin, are they going to be absorbing the freight shipping costs, which they shouldn't? It should be built into your cost of running the game. But some people like to say, oh no, we need to incorporate that cost into your final mile shipping bill. When you haven't even put that effort in, I know times are tough. I know the economy is weird with the USA deciding to tax all of its citizens for literally no reason. And thinking that other people are going to pay the tax on their citizens. I get it. It's awful. It's the only thing you can do is laugh about it. But when you don't have an estimate and even just say it's probably $20, we're implementing friendly shipping practices to many destinations. Our shipping prices are not inflated and reflect the actual price for shipping. But where are your shipping prices? The fact that you don't have the shipping prices makes me not even want to look into the game, because I can't recommend getting this game, right? Oh my goodness, this is not a good campaign page. The cards for your team are oriented towards you, so when playing a standard game across the table, the cards will have different orientation depending upon your perspective. This allows players from different perspectives to see and understand correctly what they need to do to generate and balance their offense and defense. That's just filler. That's just saying, hey, we put the numbers on both sides so that you don't have to read upside down. Takes the stat token from each place where they move on. So there's 40 stat tokens. So there'll be a bunch of stat tokens and there'll be a bunch of cards, unless these are stat tokens. No, those are cards. Anyway, there's a little 3x3 grid or some sort of grid where you take tokens and then you use those tokens to pay for cards. All the cards have different values on them, and when you get 100 points, you win. So it's kind of Splendor-esque. Yeah, I even without the shipping thing, I don't think it looks that good. Which is a shame. That finishes Wednesday, March 19th at 9:46 p.m. Moving along. Oh, I also clicked on this one. We're just blazing through. There's a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff this week, but this one's probably not going to be interesting to a lot of you. 88 backers have raised $15,000, almost $10,000 US. So on an average, $170 people are spending on this trivia game. I don't think that's right. This is a Who Are They? Where Are They From? Rock Show edition. The rock and roll trivia board game that makes you feel like you're at a rock concert. So it makes your feet tired and hurts your ears. Mine old man now. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm an old man. Roll the dice, move along here. There's a bunch of questions that you can answer at your rock game. So there you go. If you're a rock and roll fan and you wanted an ordinary trivia game, you can check that out. Hey, remember Falling? Hey, you guys, do you remember Falling? Do you remember the one game that we covered so far that looked interesting? Well, just hold on to that. Hold on to that feeling. Should I curate these more? I mean, here's the thing. The reason I cover everything is not just to pump up my numbers. It's because you never know when you're going to find a gem, right? There's been a couple things where I have thought, oh, this looks bad. And then I've read it. I'm like, oh, this could actually be a good game. Or I also am very egotistical, but but not that egotistical to think that everyone should share my tastes. I understand that my tastes are the correct tastes, don't get me wrong. Like, I know that my opinions are the right ones, and if you don't share them, they're the wrong ones. But there are a lot of people who have poor opinions in this world who also deserve happiness. Maybe that's an ethical debate for another day. Probably not, I guess, is what we're settling on here. But if you want me to curate these things, sometimes I feel like I should really curate these things. I don't know. I guess this is my unhinged rant for the day, but it's perked me up. It's actually perked me up as the soul is re-entering my body as all these campaigns have sucked it out of me, and not in a good way. At least in American Gods, when your soul gets pillaged by a succubus, you get a good time on your way out. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't in the right mental state to begin this week, but man, oh man, everything is just awful. So I don't know. Should I curate these things? I don't want to. I don't like curating it because I feel that's where I was going with before I went on that run to make myself laugh, which thank goodness somebody still can. I don't know. I feel like somewhere out there people say, oh, I'm gonna get this thing, and if I help people find a thing that they're excited about, maybe we have some rock and roll trivia heads out there who wanted to know that thing existed. Is it different from any other trivia game? Doesn't seem like it. It's a roll and move, answer questions, Trivial Pursuit style game, but it's got different questions. So maybe that's how it makes it different, right? I don't know. Let's move on to this one, which is apparently a relaxing card game where nature, strategy, and fun grow together. It's Garden Canasta. See, this Garden Canasta, all my hopes of the future rest on you. This needs to be a good game. We got any gardeners out there? Oh, if we do, honestly, this has been causing me an enormous amount of grief. Indescribable sadness pervading through my life. So, welcome to story time again. I don't even know if we're going to be able to focus on it. Okay, so I think I overwatered this plant. That's where we're at right now. Can you see the leaves? Does that look like overwatering? It really looks like overwatering, and it was doing so well, and it was sort of like an unkillable plant. Yeah, it does, because they're like, the soil should, I haven't watered it in like 2 weeks, because I was trying to unwater it. Maybe because I shifted rooms where it used to be, but I thought it was getting more light in this room. Now these leaves are kind of like turned up. Could have been that it looked like there was like a little bit of dust on the leaves, which I don't know if that's killing it. Maybe I should just Swiffer it. Maybe it's just the dust that's like weighing the leaves down. Do you have to dust your leaves? I don't know. But it doesn't look like it's doing well, and I've never repotted a plant before, and I would really like for this plant to stay alive and to not die. I'm gonna Swiffer it. Thought I did. Anyway, I don't have anybody who I can ask, so I'm turning to you, my internet friends. Do I have to repot this? I don't know. Let me know. It's not doing well, which in turn makes me not do well. The leaves aren't crispy. That's why I think it's overwatered. But I really didn't water it that much. Like, I give it a normal amount of water. I don't know if it just was because it was in a different position. It wasn't right by the window, and it used to be right by the window. Maybe Garden Canasta will tell me. So if any of you can tell me what to do, just by that brief little look, I don't know, I would really appreciate it. Oh, okay, Garden Canasta. I'm losing it. Give me something beautiful. Canasta. And hand and foot. Yeah, that's what that segment was about. Hand and foot and mouth disease. Beautiful. What lovely calming music, even if they're holding their cards upside down. Well, that certainly calmed me down. Let's look at it. I think this maybe could be good. A graphic designer from Colorado Springs. It looks beautiful. Here's the game. Your goal is to cultivate the highest scoring garden by planting crops, harvesting seeds, and using clever bonuses to outgrow the competition. The game blends classic card game mechanics with charming new twists. I love that. Harvest canastas, sets of 7 cards. I've never played canasta, so that's probably not a good way to enter into this one, because I would probably recognize the mechanics if I had. But I love the artwork. It's just so calming and lovely and wonderful. Here's how to play. There's 2 ways to play. You can play the Garden Canasta or the Garden Hand and Foot way. Garden Canasta is all about quick strategy and big plays, while Garden Hand and Foot adds extra layers of planning with 2 card piles to manage and team play, and also covering yourselves up to your hands and feet in the dirt, just in your backyard. The game is played over multiple seasons rounds. Players earn points by gardening, harvesting canastas, and finishing a season. Okay, here's what you do in turn. You draw 2 cards, you plant, and you harvest. All the cards you plant and harvest will score points. You also get points from harvesting crops of 7 matching cards called canastas. Oh, I should have said garden, hand, and foot if you're canasta. Canasty. There's something there. A harvested crop that didn't use mixed seeds is called natural and is worth 500 points. A harvested crop that's used mixed seeds is worth 300 points. Try to be the first person to get rid of all your cards. You'll get 100 points. There's a lot of points thrown around in this game. Garden Canasta is played until the first person or team reaches 8,500 points. That's why you get so many points. Yeah, I am unfamiliar. Canasta is a game of the Rummy family. Okay. Forming melds, 3 or more cards of the same rank with wild cards. So that's probably the seeds, right? Okay, I'm going to look at the normal Garden Canasta rulebook here. Or individuals, great for 2 players. So they recommend playing as teams. So you share the same garden and harvest area if you're playing in teams, but you obviously sit in rotating order. Oh, the fairy can turn your mixed seeds into natural, and then the gnome is just a regular wild card. So you can draw 2 cards from the draw pile or take the entire discard pile, but you can only take the discard pile if you can use those cards immediately to make crops. So making sets on the table, essentially. Melds in the Canasta format, and here it's just going to be melds of the same type of berry or type of crop. Yeah, it seems pretty easy, right? You need to have more of the normal crops than wild cards. Drawing cards, putting them down, set collection, and then when a crop has 7 cards, you must harvest it by placing it as a separate stack in your harvest area. After a crop is harvested, only matching crop cards may be played on it. Oh, so you can still play cards in the harvested stuff. That's interesting. There's an optional rule of having a spicy card that you have to harvest, and if you don't harvest, it's worth negative points. End your turn by discarding 1 card from your hand onto the discard pile. You must always have 1 card left in your hand unless you're ending the season. If you discard the final card in your hand and you have at least 1 harvested crop, the thing ends, or there's no cards left in the draw pile. Whoever ends the season gets 100 bonus points. It's just drawing cards, playing them down. I've never played Canasta. I think Canasta doesn't seem as interesting as other card games, but I can see the set collection aspect of it. There's a bit of a Lost Cities element to it, maybe, in terms of you're drawing cards in your hand. If you can't make a meld, you have to discard things, but you know that you're putting stuff in a discard pile that your opponent might want to pick up. And every time you add to that discard pile, you're making it more and more profitable for your opponents to pick up and be able to make more melds and more potential harvests. I think it looks nice. I think it is $28 or 41 Canadian, and then shipping just to the US. So it's $28, $10 shipping. So $38 if you want a Canasta game, right? There's 4 of each card, of each vegetable representing the 4 different numbers in the deck of an ordinary deck of cards. You get 4 decks of cards in this thing. I think if you like Canasta, this is a wonderful game. That finishes Thursday, March 20th at 10:50 a.m. What a roller coaster that segment was, wasn't it? We're going to move on to another $1 pre-pledge, which we're not covering. Coral Castle, a magical mermaid card drafting game. Unfortunately, we're not going to cover this one again because it does use the $1 pre-pledge. $27,000 it raised. I just feel so bad for these creators who do a $1 pre-pledge, get consulting from Launch Boom, which can cost like $3,000 or $5,000, you know? Like, so many people go into the hole for their games and are sold like a fake bill of goods, and it's just upsetting to me. But we're not going to cover it. What we are going to cover is this, the Catan Masterpiece series, the official upgrades to Catan components and accessories, gemstone robbers, premium dice, polished resin tiles, and more. Wow. So they contacted me. So the link down below is an affiliate link because they're like, hey, can you please cover a thing? I said, it's on crowdfunding. I'm going to cover it. They said, okay, great. Here, cover it beforehand and send people to sign up, and we'll give you like, I don't know, 50 cents for every sign up. And I was like, I don't care. And they're like, okay, we'll give you an affiliate link for it. So if people buy through your link, you'll get some money back. And I'm like, I don't care, but I would make like $1. I don't know how much I make. I didn't look into it. If you want this, you want it. If you don't, you don't. You know? Sorry, Catan Masterpiece set. But it's raised $1 bajillion. Well, 375,000 to be exact. I don't understand how this is a 7-minute long video, but we're going to figure it out together. That was a nice transition. So if you want that, I mean, you could probably just 3D print this yourself, right? Those little boats are fun if they're backward around the table. There's like gemstone tiles. Wow, this is nuts. Cool. They're like, what if this was the most premium board we could ever imagine? Looks like your houses are made out of solid gold. Oh, that was a nice picture of Klaus Teuber, who passed away. I don't not release a lot of things, but I ended up filming a video back when Klaus, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, Tuber? I was right, Klaus Teuber, when he passed away, and I just never ended up releasing it because I didn't edit it in time, and then it felt like it was, I don't know, too late in the news cycle. It felt like it was maybe self-indulgent. I don't know. But Catan has had like a significant impact upon my life, right? Like it's what got me involved in board gaming. It's what opened my mind and opened the world of board gaming to me. And for that, I will be perpetually grateful. So I love seeing people still like engage in this game and engage in it in a significant way and like actively love it so much that they'll go crazy on the Catan series. You can go for wood, you can go for wooden hexes, wooden frames, resin robbers, sparkle resin hexes, like what? Different dice, metal player pieces. This is just, they're not kidding. They're not kidding when they're like metal ancient civilizations. So you can have custom shapes. Metal bonus cards? Oh my gosh. Just a full card. Like, yeah, you got longest road, you got longest road. This is absolutely nuts. Sparkle resin, gemstone tiles. That's just, oh, so friggin' wild. This is absolutely insane. Like, I didn't look into this until this right now. Sparkle resin for the outside of the board if you want the island to be surrounded by water. The 3-dimensional ships. I don't think the 3-dimensional ships are that good because, again, things where it's hard to see what's on the back. Although I guess that's what they're doing here. That's slick because they add the on the backside to address my complaint, they put the resource and has whatever's printed on it loaded onto the back, so people can see it. That's great. And then of course you got to get the 5 to 6 player extension. Yeah, for sure. Like I'm never giving away my copy of Catan ever. I don't care how much I call. That's one thing that is staying in my collection consistently. I have the 5 to 6 player expansion, and I have the Cities and Knights in the box as well. I won the Cities and Knights in 2012. Oh no, it's probably after that. Maybe 2013. Around there, there was a Catan tournament at Snakes and Lattes. I ended up winning, and you got your choice of expansion you got your choice of expansion if you made the top 4. But I won the whole thing, and I felt very proud. And it was one of the best days. Obviously delivered in high quality, nutso packaging. Oh my gosh. You don't need this for Catan whatsoever. But hey, if you have more money than God, then look at this, because this is really just mind-blowing. The Noble, $1,000 on these sparkle resin frames, these gemstone hexes. This is just friggin' outrageous. The metal, one thing, I mean, the thing that would get me, I don't even like metal components, but to have a full metal tile for like Longest Road and Largest Army, that's insane. That's insane. Absolutely wild. I think it's amazing that it's doing so well. I think it's amazing that so many people want this to upgrade their Catan sets. I think this is absolutely a collector's piece. And you know what? Like, there's no world where anybody should get this, but I understand people who would want it. I don't even know. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't want it, I don't think. But for like the spectacle of it, and if you play Catan consistently still, take that 3D Catan at Costco. You know that 3D Catan set that people were selling for, they were selling it for like friggin', it was like $150 and people bought them all out and then they sold them for like $300. This is just wild though. It's wild, and just looking at it has brought me more joy than the past 10 campaigns. So good on ya, Catan Masterpiece series. It's just outrageous. Oh, and they got pins too that you can add onto it. Catan and Cuddle, nice. Just friggin', I didn't think it looked that impressive until I actually started looking into it. Just, wow, just mind-blowing. So check that out if you want. That finishes Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. if you want a fully gemstone version of Catan. All right, back into the trenches. Oh, maybe not. Okay, next up, this has raised a bunch. Okay, maybe we're going to have a good one here. We have Champions of Earth, Wind, and Fire, or just Champions of Wind and Fire. I'm not certain. The epic dragon building game. Build and train your own dragon using magic elements to compete in a series of tournaments. Sure, let's look at it. I love that there's a tournament of tail whipping. That's nice. That was a nice video. So essentially, the breakdown, the high-level overview is going to be you're going to spend some time building up your dragon stats, getting power for your dragon, and then you will compete in a tournament, or a number of tournaments, which will tell you the body part which is used and the element which boosts it. I don't know if you can look ahead at those tournaments, but I hope you can, so that it isn't just a big old, I hope I invested in the right thing, and then you didn't invest in the right thing. ID Venture, what have you done? Cryptic Nature. I know this one did the $1 pre-pledge, so I'm skeptical. Yeah, but they don't have Launch Boom and their partners down for this one, so we'll take it on good faith. All right, how to play. The active player rolls 7 elemental dice and distributes them among the dice areas. In turn order, players select one dice area and use the elements on the dice there. You can assign elements to the pyramid to gain magic tiles, which can be later used for dragon training, or collect magic crystals and bonuses from the training grounds. Cool. I like this. I like I Cut You Choose. I think that's a very fun mechanism, and I enjoy interacting with it. Collect magic crystals from the training grounds, get different bonuses, cards, gold, magic tiles, the possibility to remove ominous black crystals. Use your cards, use your training action cards to influence the game flow, spend your gold to upgrade your dragon tiles. Fight the dark side. During the game, you'll gain black crystals that will weaken your dragon, but can also provide action cards. So a little corruption mechanism there from Lord's Waterdeep, and you can remove those things, which is great. Collect 3 magic crystals shown on your trainer card to get additional gold. Cool. Then train your dragon. If you have the required pattern, you can gain a dragon tile and upgrade your dragon. I see. So each upgrade will have a certain pattern of tiles. It doesn't matter the color of the tiles, it just matters the pattern of the tiles, which is good. Oh, it does matter, because the colors matter for enhancing your dragon with the sigils. When upgrading, gain a sigil if the magic tile used for the upgrade matches the elements on the token. Oh, choose the elements and the type of tournament that suits you. The player with the lowest power will select the public tournament card, and then everyone will have a chance to play at least one tournament card from their hand. I see. So you'll have your own tournament cards, which will benefit what you've upgraded, and then there will be a public tournament card as well. Then players will receive trophies according to the performance of their dragons, collect the most valuable trophies, become the champion. You can also make hidden bets and spend your gold, magic stones, and crystals during each tournament to deepen the strategy. Yeah, I think that's something that you'd want to add in, especially, and you can also have tournament action cards, which seems fun. Do you remember when the dragons they came with their wings and their fangs and flames and they burn ya when they play dragon games? Oh yeah. Loud obnoxious falsetto incoming. Ah! In a different key apparently. Here's the dragon tournament. Ah! You know that they're burning it. Ah! Okay, I'm gonna stop. I probably didn't give you enough time to mute. Sorry for your ears. Cool. You'll have all of the dragon tiles available as well in a 4-player game, and you're racing to compete these patterns, which I think is going to be good. What I do like about the multiple dragon tiles is that you can speed the tournament. If you see somebody who's going for the ultra high powered tiles, you can quickly get the lower powered tiles and start the tournament before they have chances to upgrade their dragons, which I think would be fun. Where do the sigils come in though? Great, but it's a very simple choice. You're either gaining the tiles for your pyramid or gaining gems over here. You'll be getting black tiles and gold tiles, which will increase and decrease the strength. I do like how you have to flip your tiles upside down, so it makes a little bit of a organizational puzzle, but it's not really an organizational puzzle. It's more based around the colors and where you can add them into your pyramid, because you can put the tiles anywhere you want. Flying on a cloudy day. It's very simple to calculate these tournaments. The player with the lowest total power of their dragon body parts receives the active player marker and the privilege to select the public tournaments. The first tournament to be played, and the first tournament to be played. Okay. Game ends after 5 tournaments are played, and you just get victory points for winning the tournaments. So you don't want to get too far ahead. Well, you want to get too far ahead with your dragon power, because if the person who's in second is just like 1 dragon power below you, you're screwed. You're probably screwed because they've invested in their time in gaining the magic gems. I guess you could try to figure out what people are investing in depending upon what dice they draft. The tournaments don't seem that interesting to me. I feel like you really have to play with the advanced mode. Playing with these action cards makes the tournament at least somewhat interesting. You have an ace up your sleeve. You're choosing when to play that card. But again, it depends on the abilities of the cards, right? This example is, hey, just everybody lowers their score by 1. Yeah, and in the advanced part, you have to play it with this. The other way just seems bad. You choose how much of your resources you're going to wager, but you have to spend them over the course of the tournament. At least there's something there, right? At least it's not just like, hey, highest score wins. There's a little bit of a betting element. You're storing up gold elements that you've taken over the course of the game, and the crystals you've taken over the course of the game, and you are then spending those golden crystals, which would be fun if there's a green thing coming up and you have a lot of green crystals, and then you get everybody to spend their green crystals, and you know that your one is also going to be a green crystal. There could be a lot more potential there. Still a little bit more randomness, whatever. Yeah, you also want to add the sigils in for sure. There's a top portion of every sigil. They'll also boost your dragon's element. All of this stuff in the advanced mode does not feel advanced. It feels absolutely integral to the experience. The base game seems very bad, but the advanced mode seems somewhat passable. I'm still not thrilled about it. I think, okay, I need to divest myself from the real nothing burger that is the regular mode and just treat the advanced mode as the game, which is what we should do. The bidding will be interesting. Dice drafting for creating patterns will be fine. I feel like you're going to get very samey patterns, but the dice drafting can happen in terms of that Azul denying aspect, where if you force somebody to take dice that they already have all those symbols of, then they're going to take black crystals, right, which will lower your dragon strength. So there's that. What's shipping? Shipping to the US is 18 to 20 bucks estimate, 23 to 25 to Canada. It's 50 euro, 79 Canadian. So it'd be like $100 for this game. I think it looks good, okay. I think it looks okay. I'm willing for it to be exciting, but I really got thrown by the awfulness of the base game, and I'm trying to not let that impact me and trying to just absorb it with the advanced modules, which are not modules, they're auto includes. If you want this game to be interesting at all, I think the theme is fun, right? I think the theme is fun. I think building your dragon is fun. I think it'll be cool to upgrade your dragon's head and have it be a super fire-breathing dragon. I think that's going to be neat. I just think the choosing of the tournament structure is uninteresting. I think it would be more interesting if it was open-faced before the game began. I guess you could house rule it, but that's kind of how I feel. Anyway, that finishes March 21st, Friday at 10 a.m. Moving along to this one, Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures, a standalone story-driven campaign using the Tiny Epic Dungeons system. All new and fully cross-compatible content, create your legend, a campaign game in a Tiny Epic game. That's wild. People love the Tiny Epic games. I've only played Tiny Epic Quest, and I thought it was fine. I thought the Tiny Epic Blood Rage looked good because it was Blood Rage. But a lot of people like these, so we're going to see what this one's all about. Ah, it's a double thick box. Twice as thick, baby. That makes sense. Remember, these minis are like the teeniest tiny minis you've ever seen, right? What is this? A campaign game for ants? So they're just using the same system as Tiny Epic Dungeons, if you're familiar. I probably was familiar once upon a time. I imagine it is very familiar system to anyone who's played dungeon crawlers in general. It's a standalone game though, Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures. You can just start with it, which is, I think, fine. Probably the best way to experience it, honestly, because it is the second way, the revised way, right? Anytime a game comes back with a revised edition, it generally is better because they have learned things from their first go around. I'd say 9 times out of 10. Let me know if there are exceptions in the comments that you can think about. And that's not, I'm talking like mechanically driven stuff. Often now with rising prices, and we'll probably see this with the upcoming campaign in this episode, where the OG version had better components because, well, it depends, or was cheaper for the same level of components because costs were cheaper. That's just how that works. Cool, so you have a dungeon booklet, and then you will also lay out a bunch of cards, which is neat. The thing that really got me was them saying, hey, you can collect keys and open locks, which I think is cool, and you can use bombs to just blow up a wall, which I think is amazing. Now, I'm sure that's specific to walls that have cracks in them. You can't just blow up any wall, but maybe you can. And if you can blow up any wall, I don't want to make something a rash statement like I'm going to back it right now. Dang, I wish our dollar was better. I'm like, yeah, 35 is like really reasonable, but it would be a very easy upsell for $14 to get those 2 additional content packs. I actually think the deluxe bundle is surprisingly the way to go in this one. I feel like with Tiny Epic, it's always the way to go. They upsell you really well. And then it's like, oh, $71 Canadian, and then shipping will put it at $100. And I'm paying $100 for this very teeny tiny campaign game. But that's just my dollar, and that's just cheapy old me. As players move through the dungeon, they may find that they have a room that appears to be a dead end. However, using heroic intuition, you know that there's a passage or treasure in a dark corridor on the other side. You can use a bomb to open a hole in the wall. You can bomb anything. That's great, and that then deals with, mechanically, that deals with the randomness of the setup so that you can go anywhere with just dealing out these tiles. You're never blocked into something, you're never blocked out of something. I think mechanically that's a really great fix. And then limiting it to the number of times that you can use it, the number of bombs that you have, I think is also a really clever fix. It uses many of the same rules such as movement, combat, skill checks, looting, spellcasting, among others. They provided the rules for Tiny Epic Dungeons. Yes, it's the same game and then there's a campaign element to it. I think that's great. Neat. Cool and neat. Good. I mean, great. Great and good. That impression used to be better. You have your health stat, your focus stat, which is basically your action counter, speed, which is your movement, and your defense. You'll all have a different stat. Where did I see this recently? I played a game where this was Earth Under Siege? Yeah, Earth Under Siege had this, where you have a stat for an attack stat or a defense stat, and then you roll the same dice, but you roll a number of them equal to your stats. So that's how you variabilize, that's a real word. The characters get that variability with making you feel like a wizard because you can't punch them. Then it's just skill checks, you know? Searching rooms, getting items, finding random items, casting a spell. If it's successful, you spend your focus, you deal 4 damage to the target, you need to have an intelligence stat of 7. Yeah, it all seems very intuitive. They never try to reinvent the wheel in the Tiny Epic games, which I think is a great thing. I think they use mechanics and mechanisms that are already in existence. This is great. If you're friggin' cheap like me, you can get all the print and play files and print them out yourselves for $20. You don't have to worry about the shipping. Shipping estimates to the US, $12, or the Lux bundle, $14, so about the same. $24, yeah. So it's like $100 for me. I get it though. I understand why it's doing so well. If you like campaign games, and you've definitely finished all of yours, and you need a little small one to try it out, I think it'd be a simple, quick system. They're meant to be light games. They're trying to elevate the amount of rules in each one. I like that they have hidden envelopes in them and a little dungeon booklet. They cram a lot of game into these boxes. They're like DeVere in that regard. But yeah, I think this definitely looks good. 49 bucks feels like a very, very reasonable price for this game. So if you're interested, check it out. The finish is Friday, March 21st at 11 p.m. A nice game. Good game. Next up, we got this one, which who knows? This is Catopomp, a tactical card game about cats and souls. Catopomp is a fast-playing card game with multi-hand management and dice drafting. Sure. Let's look at it. Only one loser. Yeah, that seems neat enough. It's a ladder climbing game. You will play cards in either sets or runs. You don't want to be the last person with cards in your hand. That was a great video. It was a great video, very easy to understand setup. You're going to have cards in your hand, and then you will be adding cards to on the table face up, which is in your hell pile. You'll have a heaven pile and a hell pile. The heaven's in your hand, hell is on the table, as the old adage goes. There will also be a number of dice rolled on the table, which you can use to add to sets. So you can play a set and use some dice from the communal supply to boost your cards. You can only do this once a round. I don't feel like it's going to have that much of an impact on the gameplay. It's a nice little twist that you can get some sets out of your hand that you can play onto other people's. I guess it negates a bad draw, but everybody's going to get a chance to do it. So if I just want my set to be super powerful, I can just use the dice and control the flow of it. I don't know. I don't think it's going to play that much into it. The hell domain is the interesting part. There's some limitations to playing. You can't play a single card from your hell domain, so you have to pair them up unless you have no cards in your hand. And also, if you win the trick, you can kind of give cards away to people from the hell domain and shed your cards a little bit quicker as well, which is interesting. Print and play, $8, $8 Canadian, nice. Base pledge, Singapore 28, Canadian 31. So you get the core game. Shipping to Singapore is $6 Everywhere else is 22. I like that they have the shipping just right there. That's very nice. So it'll be eventually, $50 for this game, and they're saying shipping will be charged up front. You won't have to worry about remember to pay it later about rates changing. We're accepting the risk and we'll cover any increases. That's because they're doing localized shipping. They're going to get it all created. They're going to send themselves their decks, and then they're going to put it in at postage rates, and they've already looked up those postage rates, so you probably will be fine. Yeah, it's cute, though. I like it. I like it as a cute card game. Quick, trick-taking-ish, ladder climbing. I'd say if you're looking for a ladder climbing game with a twist, though, you can just get Sears Catalog from Bezier, not to pick up on the little guys, but I like the art. Yeah, it's a nice one. So if you're interested in that, the finish is Saturday, March 22nd at 12:59 p.m. Moving along to this one, I mean, I don't think this is going to be anything, but I wanted to click on it because of the tagline. Cute girls and chaos? This card game is a chaotic twist on a classic. Quick to learn and packed with personality. Rock, paper, scissors, Wizards. 21st Kickstarter? Okay, it's in a little mint tin. Maybe there's a game here. I don't know. You've done 21 things. I mean, kind of pumped up those numbers since there's a lot of canceled ones, but I don't mind seeing a lot of canceled campaigns. To me, that's not a flag. That's a bonus. Like, that's a positive mark for the creator, is recognizing, hey, we can't create this. Like, it didn't fund. And then we came back and we funded it and we delivered it, right? I think that's a huge thing to me. But I still am always hesitant by anything that has a rock, paper, scissors mechanism in it. But we'll see. You pick your showdown card, you unleash your magic, you capture your staves, you beware the wizard. I mean, you're going to pick rock, papers, and scissors, and then you're going to have things to modify your rock and your paper and your wizard, right? That's it. You'll have these cards to modify things, and it's $20 for this little tin. Discard one spell from your hand to steal your opponent's spell. When they use it, add it to your hand. So it's just a bunch of, like, take that stuff, I feel. And they're making it through Gamecrafter, which is normally used to... people normally use it, rather, to create prototypes for their games. I've gotten a lot of prototypes from Gamecrafter sent to me before they do mass production. And so they're imagining that it'll be a smaller print run, which definitely is. So that seems perfectly reasonable to do it. You'll pay slightly increased costs than shipping en masse, but maybe not anymore. But I don't know. It's, I'm not interested, but maybe you are. That's the nicest thing I could say about it. That finishes Saturday, March 22nd at 1:45 p.m. Moving along, I'm not going to look into this too deeply because it is a big old war game, but I think I do like mentioning these things for the reasons that I've mentioned other things before, is that someone might be interested. So we've Hold the Line Hannibal game and Deluxe Neoprene game map, the all-new Hold the Line Hannibal board game. Hold the Line Hannibal, see, I thought it was just Hannibal. I thought it was a reprint of Hannibal, but apparently it's a different version. It's a grand tactical two-player game covering 10 of the greatest battles of the Punic Wars. Following the commands of Richard Borg's Commands and Colors system, and more directly Worthington's Hold the Line series, Hannibal includes the same standard-sized map board, 13 hexes wide and 9 hexes deep. Combat is resolved with custom dice. There you go. None of that made any sense to me because I'm not the target audience. I bet it's $100. No, it's only 70, so 100 Canadian, exactly. And that's done on Saturday, March 22nd at 4:30 p.m. I'm putting it here if you're interested. Another thing that I'm dropping here as of some interest is some premium big turtle card sleeves. You can get them for 85 euros. And by 85 euros, I mean 85 cents of a euro, but I don't know what pence. That's not pence. And you get your fruit servings with it. New sleeves, round corners, and orange peel. Guess that's a new feature to it. Not even a good joke. I know nothing about sleeves other than my expertise in shuffling them, but I put this here again for people to let me know if they're good or not, or if people were looking for different sleeve packs or to try a different sleeve company. Well, this one's on Kickstarter right now and it is funded, so that's about all I can tell you on that one. That's Saturday, March 22nd at 6:59 p.m. Moving along, for our next thing to satisfy the male gaze, we have Goddess the Convergence TCG, the first expansion, Demonia, the hottest goddess universe and collectible card game, is back. I didn't even know it was here for the first place, with its first expansion, Demonia. I'm looking at this because I'm going to say, after I look at it, that just get the one-piece card game. Mechanically, it's better. That's what I'm going to say here. Should I go ahead and look at it and come to that conclusion? Or should I just skip it and say that right now? Let's look at it a little. If this tells me anything of how to play. Online rules. Sure, there are some rules, so we will read the rules. There we go. This is what we want. Aim of the game. The first player to enter his opponent's temple and place one or more goddesses worthy of 3 victory points wins the game. You have to use unique cards from an era of your choice, so a set. In Goddess the Convergence, energy is materialized by breaths, the sighs that humans give to goddesses when they meet them, which give goddesses all their power. A goddess can perform an action in turn. You tap the goddess. Well, you tap the card. Get your minds out of the gutter. You use your breaths, your mana, for your active phase and your reactive phase as well. Reacting a committed goddess, but they refresh at the end of your turn, so you always have people who are ready to react in terms of the flow of the game. So you can react first and then play on your turn, whereas other games, like when I was playing Universus, you have to take your turn and then you do the reactions with what you have left. Both provide a different sensation of play. Oh, get out of here. When several cards are grouped together, they're called a harem. Great, you have 3 stats: attack, defense, vitality. Unused breath can be saved indefinitely from one turn to the next. That's good to know. I don't even know why I'm looking into this. Like, One Piece is better. Yeah, the harem thing just makes me not keen to keep reading through that. Essentially, you can stack your cards together so that their values stack, so that you can move them as a group towards their goal. As with all trading card games, they're too expensive for anybody to be interested in. If you want to get into a trading card game, get into One Piece. Seems more fun. There's something to the moving forward, right? There's something to that, and to stacking your cards together, so maybe I just don't think this has much weight to it. But if you're interested, hey, check it out. That's over on Gamefound. Finishes on the 25th at 9 a.m. 25th being next Tuesday. And speaking of next Tuesday, here's one that I'm very excited to talk about. We have the Manhattan Project Energy Empire. One of the best regarded modern board games returns with a new look, beautiful components, and all new expansion content. Wow, Energy Empire came out in 2016, so almost 10 years ago, by Tom Jolly and Luke Laurie, and they are coming out with a new edition of it, with all new art. If you saw the third Manhattan Project, there was another Manhattan Project that was a couple of years ago. That looked neat. It was a dice manipulation game, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a good game. It looked interesting. This has the same vibe, right? They've taken that same art style and they've added it to here. The other art style was a little bit more like this, you know, hand drawn, and your workers and energy tokens were rectangles instead of the circles that they're going to give you here. Also, Manhattan Project, which I knew was coming up, so I played recently. I have this copy, which I think I picked up at Origins 2022, and I played the original Manhattan Project. I wanted to do a video between the two different Manhattan Projects. Maybe I could still do that. But I agree with the masses in that Energy Empire is the superior product. Manhattan Project, the main one, felt like you had to play it at 5 people because of the interaction. There's a lot more take that elements to it, and here there's a lot more like Euro optimization. So both Zach and myself really enjoyed playing that. We played this with my former friend and now nemesis Josh, who complained the whole time about not being able to do the things that he wanted to do, and then still was in the lead the whole game. And we were like, stop complaining, Josh. But what is really cool about this campaign is that you can add on this stretch goals add-ons, or you can get this powering up pledge, only $36 Canadian, where you can get the out of print Cold War expansion. Everything in Cold War is already included in the new Energy Empire box, which is also nice, and it's a nice sort of price point to think about that, hey, you could add it for 36 bucks Canadian, or you could get the new one for 72 Canadian, making the larger price, the more expensive price for this one, a little bit more justifiable. I don't know how much Energy Empire was when it first came out. It was like 57 Canadian. So a $15 uptick for having the expansion built in seems pretty good. Now, of course, you still have to pay for shipping. So, and they're saying that the new MSRP is 107 Canadian because it includes the expansion content, and sure. Let's go to the how to play section. Essentially, let's go to the rulebook because I want better visual aids than that. It's a worker placement game. It is a worker placement game with 2 types of workers. You will have your regular workers, which are here represented by these briefcase circles, and you'll have your energy tokens, which you will generate and you can use on other thing. Workers have to go on the board. You can't just throw energy on the board. But there is a restriction in that if somebody's already in the spot where you are, you need to add an energy under your worker, or where you want to go rather, you need to add an energy under your worker in order to even place there. Everybody will be managing their own ecology board, I don't know, ecological board, who knows, your own player mat, where eventually you will be forced to cover up spaces with pollution, and you can deal with that pollution over the course of the game, and if you do, that's good because there's going to be a number of different scoring events that happen over the course of the game where you will score one of the 3 rows depending upon how many spaces don't have pollution in it. You essentially have 2 economies. You have your worker economy, and then you have some dice economy, where at the end of each round, you will roll the dice. You can choose how many dice to roll. You can purchase some dice for one-time rolls as well, and that will generate energy, which is all lost at the end of the round. You are also going to be investing in these 3 different locations, purchasing these new cards. Oh, okay, I like the art drawing on these cards now. I thought they were very bare when I was first looking at it, and I was a bit disappointed. I do like the other art better though, but this is growing on me. You will be collecting these different buildings over the course of the game, the industry, the commerce, and the government locations, and then whenever you send a worker to one of these board locations, because they're also worker placement spots, you can then activate the buildings of that type. That is what Josh had took umbrage with and was upset that he had all these government locations that he couldn't activate when he went to the industry locations. And I said, well, you can activate them when you go to the government location. Then he complained for a long time and then would always inevitably go to a government location and then be able to activate his buildings just fine. It's a small restriction. It's a good restriction in terms of game flow. I don't find it that restricting or punishing as many other games can be. That's it in a nutshell though. You put your worker out, you take the resources, you are trying to build these buildings which will give you points, deal with the pollution on your board which will give you points, move up on this track, this global climate track, where everybody's nation has their own way, the resources that you spend to move up on them. And then they're incorporating a bunch of expansion content, which I'm going to look at a little, I guess. Here's the Cold War expansion at the back. Yeah. So it adds some Cold War My mouth is just really not working today. And a Doomsday Clock. Extra late global impact cards. So there are these events that will come up, so I guess it extends the game a bit. Mega structure cards. Okay, we're gonna look at these. So there's these giant mega structures. Cool. Yeah, I like it. I really like that they're offering this Cold War expansion. Oh, that's great. And they have 170 people who are interested in that. They're not forcing people to get the deluxe version if they already have the existing copy. I think that is such a classy move, because they definitely didn't have to do that whatsoever. Great. So you have new nations, new structures, new mega structures, which are always out there, which have a requirement that you need. That seems fine. Well, that's nice. I thought I was getting a text from a bot, and it turns out it was just a friend's mom who had my number in their phone. They said, "Hey, just wanted to let you know, got here okay." It's like, I don't think I'm the right person here. She said, "Oh yeah, I was sending it to her husband's name is Chris, so send it to the wrong Chris." That was nice. What a nice interaction. Wow. So you can just put a worker there. You can always put a worker on the Doomsday Clock. But the game can just end if too many people take turns on this Doomsday Clock. You'll also be taking these Cold War cards. Each Cold War card you have is worth 1 victory point? Why wouldn't you just go to the Doomsday Clock all the time? Well, because they provide a lot of pollution, a lot of nuclear fallout. Wow, this really incentivizes playing onto this location. There's like no downside. The game's going to be over immediately. People who have played with the Cold War expansion, is it good? It feels like it would end the game so quickly. And then there's a Clash of Nations solo module, so new solo rules, which makes sense. Solo gaming has become more and more robust as you go through. The Doomsday Clock just doesn't seem fun. It feels like it would end the game way too early. Oh, okay. You have to pay that thing. Got it. You have to pay those resources. There we go. I thought these were resource spots when I was looking at it. I just assumed that it was a worker placement spot. Yeah, no, there's an additional cost that has to be paid. That makes so much more sense. So it's just another way to get points in this way of, yeah, okay. I don't know if I need the expansion. I think it looks fun. I like the extra structures. I like adding a bunch of stuff into the mix. And the Doomsday Clock, now that I understand what it is, seems fun. Doesn't quite blow me away, but if you haven't played Energy Empire and you like worker placement games, I quite enjoyed playing it recently. It's actually the first time I got it to the table. Think you could throw in all the modules all the time. A Cold War expansion. Yeah, I just think that's so friggin' great that people who wanted this Cold War expansion can get it. 36 Canadian feels very reasonable. And I guess there is a limited quantity because they probably are pulling from stock. But yeah, so $50 US. $50 US. Or 72 Canadian plus shipping. Shipping to the US is 15. Oh, it's in all prices are in Canadian, so shipping to the US is 10. $60 for Energy Empire feels like for a new edition with expansion content in it. It was a fun game. I look forward to playing it again in like 3 years. So if you're interested in that, check it out. The finish is Tuesday, March 25th at 11:30 a.m. This is apparently a new company, Frostbite Games, which I do know. I feel like I know William Chandler, although I think I know him as Billy. But this is also, I feel like this is a new company that is run in conjunction with other few companies. I would not be concerned about the legitimacy of this company whatsoever. And I can speak to that since I know William. Yeah, really nice. Really nice. The art style's growing on me. I think I like the other art better. If you can find an old copy of Energy Empire, though, go for that one over this, because the resources in that are just delightful. The barrels are like friggin' metal. I bet they're made out of lead. That's how they used to do in the old days. Good times in the old days. Anyway, if you're interested in that, the finish is next Tuesday, March 25th at 11:30 a.m. And then finally, just quickly, we have this hot pot card game, Life's a Broth. Enjoy the simmer moments. I don't know what I don't know what pun that they're trying to make there. If it's like life's a bench, enjoy the simple moments. Life's a beach. Enjoy the simple moments. Is that an expression? I don't know. This is by Kawaka Games, and I remember them. They did like Boba. Did you do Boba? Boba Master. They did do Boba Master card game, which has below a 7. I don't know, there's a few boba games. I picked one of them. Anyway, I'm not expecting revolutionarily strategic gameplay here. I'm expecting a very simple card game to appeal to those of you who like hot pots. Kind of a push your luck game of adding cards to a communal pot and then scooping them up. Yeah, it seems like a cute enough game. It seems better than most of their other stuff that they've made, to be fair. I think this is the best one yet, if I remember their fare. You're going to get a random hand of cards. They're going to be action cards. There's going to be ingredient cards. You're going to throw those into the middle, 2 at a time. And at one point, you're going to try to scoop them all up and put them in your pot. Then it's set collection for points. It is $33 Australian, 30 Canadian. That works out to, what, 20 US? Close to 20, 23 US probably. Nope, 20 US. I was closer in the first time. Man, our dollar's bad. So for 20 bucks US, you can get it. Shipping costs $10 to Australia, $10 US to Canada or the US. So for me, it would be like $44 to get this little card game, which honestly, for Kickstarter prices, including shipping for card games, it's on the lower end. I've been finding it to be like 50 or more consistently. And so the fact that it isn't that is exciting. Definitely exciting. So yeah, great job, Quokka Games. I think this is your best one yet. If you're interested in that, it finishes Tuesday, March 25th at 8 p.m. That's it. That is it for the week, or almost is it for the week. Before we do the pick for me and the pick for you, the pick for me being the thing that I think is the most interesting to me mechanically, and the pick for you being the thing that I think if you got, you would regret it the least, we have this special package here from Gamefound. I told Alex that if it wasn't a sword, I wasn't interested. But they send it to me anything. They said, we're the biggest crowdfunding platform on board games. Suck it, Kickstarter. That one's written in invisible ink. If you don't see that. So what did they say? They said 2024 is behind us. It's a little Gamefound package. Oh, there's a little Gamefound app. Look at that. 1.3 million registered users. That's kind of cool. 300 crowdfunding campaigns launched. $35 million raised with stretch pay in crowdfunding. So probably including late pledges into that. Or they're just including Nemesis, which is $30 million Canadian. It's $20 million raised right now. Oh, these are sort of neat statistics. 283,000 new backer accounts created in 2024. Showing some growth in kickstarting. 173 new creators in 2024. That's neat. Funds raised compared to 2023 in 2023. Oh, that's the breakdown. Look, there's a breakdown right there. I'll read it out to you. Oh, well, I can see it on my screen. Crowdfunding, 85 million, and then 71 million in late pledges, making it 156 million compared to the 108 million from 2023. That's neat. And look, they've got a new marketing tool as well, AdFound, guaranteeing you $9 for every dollar you spend, or guaranteeing somebody that at least. Oh, this is neat too. Top 8 of the 10 biggest board game campaigns globally. Cyberpunk 2077, Lands of Evershade. Lands of Evershade raised $7 million. Jeez. Heroes of Might and Magic, the reprint. DC United, Cthulhu Death May Die, Puerto Rico Special Edition, Grim Coven, Twisted Cryptids, Castle of Burgundy, and Root, the Homeland expansion. Oh, those were the top 10. Twisted Cryptids and Root being 8 and 10. 8 of the top 9. Wow. That's pretty impressive, Gamefound. So what they sent a little package, a little glasses cleaner thing, which if I could find my glasses, that would be great. I really wish I could. They're just blue light glasses. Like whenever you see me wearing glasses, I'm just doing it to take the strain off of my itty bitty eyes. They sent this, which is definitely a confetti cannon. It's definitely a confetti cannon. This is just, nobody wants this, but I do. Okay, now the lid's back on. But I would just push this up real quick, and I don't think it's going to be worth the squeeze. We'll come back to this. There's some cute little Polish chocolates in here. Thanks, Gamefound. You know, I wasn't going to keep on covering things on your platform, but this has convinced me. I think I will continue it. I think the last time it was like a mug, so I bet it's a mug. This isn't a sword. I'm going to lose it. This is one small sword. One giant leap for sword kind. Oh, and a little water bottle. Oh, you know what? This is actually friggin' great. Good branding, because I get thirsty. Oh, there's some more candies inside. Is this like the, I don't know what they're called, the travel something? There's a new fad cup that is this cup. Apparently, talking to some people who had one, who were very excited to get one, and then it doesn't seal very well. But I don't know. I mean, this just looks like a nice water coffee cup. How cute! Here's the Gamefound. Kickstarter never gave me shit. I will drink out of this often on Crowdfunding Countdown to keep my little throat hydrated as I scream about crowdfunding campaigns. Thanks, Gamefound. Cheers to you. I do like Gamefound a lot as a platform, right? I mean, I'm friends with Alex, who is the CMO of Gamefound, works for Board Game Co. We are friends. Even though he doesn't say anything nice about me on his channel ever, I won't return that favor, and I'll say that he is a very nice man, and I appreciate and enjoy his friendship. That being said, Gamefound is better than Kickstarter in almost every way. It really is. The only thing that Gamefound sucks at, and we'll keep this in the Gamefound section, sucks at for me, is when I do my end of the year thing, I like to sort by crowdfunding, and I like to sort by the most funded, but I also want to put in a year. I don't want to sort through the most funded of all time. I want to be able to sort by year. I want to be able to sort by end date or something. Sort by most funded and end date. That would be great. So if anyone out there who works for Gamefound might be watching, make that happen for me so that at the end of the year, I don't miss any $1 million campaigns and I can see these big old numbers instead of having to wait for the pamphlet. That would have been great when I was doing my top $1 million campaigns of the year. I think I covered most of them though. I think they were all. Yeah, I gotta go back to this to have my links. All right. We're going to do a little crowdfunding grunt down to remind ourselves of the week, starting with falling. Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Meh. Hey. No. No. Yeah, absolutely not. Oh boy. Yeah. No. War. Shifty. This is getting unhinged. Nah. Yeah. And sure. So a good list. I'm actually in a pickle here because I have 3 games. 3 choices here. Yeah, okay, I thought that was going to be the pick for you, but I think I'll make that the pick for me. And because of price, I'll make the other one the pick for you. Okay, so the one that got cut was Falling. Falling was close on the docket, but I needed to do a pivot because I'm making Manhattan Project Energy Empire the pick for me. I don't think the Doomsday Clock adds anything, so I don't think I'll be picking up the Powering Up pledge. It's $36 and then shipping would be like $50. For a game that I enjoy and I expect to stay on my shelf and look forward to playing again. I don't know. I quite enjoyed Energy Empire. I thought it lived up to the hype. It lived up to its good praises that I found it being sung around. So I am making it the pick for me because I quite did enjoy playing it recently, and it is nice to have an edition that everybody can have access to, even if the barrels, I think, aren't metal. So that's the pick for me, and the pick for you is going to be the Tiny Epic Dungeon Adventures. If Falling just got edged out, but I think that this is a really nice price. I think what they're doing with it is cool. I think it's a very simple dungeon crawler. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, but if you wanted that, like unique small box campaign that spreads out very, very largely on a table and then gets crammed into a smaller box, I can see why people are excited about this one. I think it has earned its price point. I think the Deluxified bundle feels reasonable, as does the base game. I think both of those feel reasonable. So yeah, but if you're getting it now, I feel like you should do it at the Deluxe. That's the pick for you. It was almost Falling, but Falling is quite expensive. Kind of a resource salad is a new term that I will coin right here. Getting a bunch of resources, spitting them out. I think it'll be fun and enjoyable, but I think the better value picks happen with the Tiny Epic and with Manhattan Project. So those are the picks for the week. Also, thank you everybody who, if you back something like based upon my coverage or crowdfunding coverage of it, I really do appreciate it. Some publishers have been reaching out to me and saying like, hey, we notice a difference on Monday, and people reference you in the comments. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. It helps give me a little bit more sort of name recognition with publishers in terms of getting review copies down the line. So I appreciate whenever you jump into those comments if you're backing something. And again, like, only back the things that you will enjoy. I try to keep that core to the value system of here. You don't have to back something every Monday. You should not be backing something every Monday. Don't do that. And then I know the counter will be, well, every Tuesday's fine. No, you know what I mean. Don't do that unless you are actively excited for it. Hopefully this is a good resource for you all. And I appreciate you all hanging out and tuning in. and I'll try to be funnier next week and less sad about my plant. Who knows? Who knows what the time will bring, but I appreciate you all being here. My name's Chris George. Oh no, I was supposed to say something here, like a catchphrase or something. I don't have a catchphrase. What a disappointment of an ending.